Words are hard today, guys. Words are hard. Hello friends, my name is Shayla and today I'm here to talk to you about the top 10 books that I've read so far in the year of 2018. So these are not in any particular order. These are just books that I've read that I really enjoyed. All of them have a 4.5 or 5-star rating. So these are books that I highly recommend, that I thoroughly enjoy, and I think people should check out if they're not already checking them out or haven't read them yet. So again, the only ones that are really in order are going to be the last two that I talk about. The rest aren't in any particular order, but these last two I'm going to talk about are the ones that are like my standouts for the year so far. So definitely check out all of these books that are upcoming, and let's just go ahead and dig right in. So the first one we're going to talk about is one that people are probably going to gripe and grumble over, but I will fully admit that I am a trash can, 1 for this author and 2 for this series. You probably know what I'm talking about by this point, and that is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. Now, it got to a point where I really wasn't liking Chaol's character throughout the series. So what this book did is kind of like Chaol's redemption arc in some ways. I feel like what she did with Chaol's character in this particular book served him very well. I'm a fan of Chaol once again. I never really liked Chaol and Celaena as a couple, and I will be the first to admit that. But when it comes to this book, I feel like Sarah J. Maas tied together loose ends that were already at Empire of Storms before Kingdom of Ash. So I can understand how this book went from a 200-page novelette to like a 600-page book. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I liked seeing the world outside of the places we'd already been exploring. So we're in a totally different kingdom, and it's wonderful. I really enjoyed my read of this. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was not my favorite book in this series, but it definitely served a very wise purpose. This is not a book you can skip if you're planning on reading Kingdom of Ash at the end of the year. So definitely pick this one up. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Again, what she did with Chaol's character and other characters that she brought in from other places that have been mentioned in the story that are now all tying together into this big story arc. It's amazing. Like, Sarah J. Maas really knew what she was doing with this world and this story, and I really am enjoying this. I am now looking forward to the conclusion of this series much more than I was previous to reading this book. Next up on this list is something that is not typically in my wheelhouse, and that is a YA contemporary. And that happens to be Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I belly laughed. I tabbed a couple of passages. There is a bunch of geek culture in here when it comes to video games, and there are just some great one-liners from our characters. I thought this was very well written. I really enjoyed the story. I'm a thespian at heart, and this features high school students putting on a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I really enjoyed the elements that included the play as well, because primarily our girl character goes to an all-girls school, and so they partner up with the all-boys school across the way, and they put on this production, and all sorts of shenanigans go down. I thoroughly enjoy this. It is really, really fun. I went into this with pretty low expectations, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. One of my favorite reads of the year. Definitely check out Foolish Hearts if you like YA contemporary. The next one is, again, one that I don't typically talk about a lot on my channel, and this is a Christian fiction, historical fiction novel, and that is In Spite of Lions by Scarlet Pike. I do have a full review of this book, so I will leave that linked in the card symbol for you. It is spoiler-free, so you're free to go and check this out. But this book follows Anna. Anna is a young woman of means who isn't looking forward to life in London society. So she hops on a boat and ends up in Africa. And the exploration of the time period and what people in Africa were going through, I found it to be brilliant. Of course, there are Christian and religious ties into this, so if Christianity is not really your thing, you will have to give this book a pass. But it's a real cry and shame because I really enjoyed this book. The religion stuff isn't totally in your face, but it does play a pivotal part. So if you're just lukewarm about it, you might want to try it. But it's only like 250 pages, and it is a brilliant book. She I know this author. I know she's planning on working on a sequel. She's actually going to be going to Africa to visit some of the places that she writes about. So the next book will be even better, and I am so excited for her. Next up is an ebook, actually, and it is called The Dylan Dilemma by Patricia B. Tighe. This is a cute YA contemporary. I do have a full review for this one as well, and it is book 2 in a contemporary series. In the video of The Dylan Dilemma, the review that I have the first book in the series linked as well, so definitely go and check those out. But I really liked the exploration that we did with this character. Our main character, Kenzie, I believe is her name. It's been a little bit since I read it. But Kenzie and Dylan are finally at a point where they could be in a relationship, and Kenzie has to decide if she really wants to be in a relationship. And even though she has feelings for Dylan and wants to be in a relationship, she's got other things she's dealing with. And so she isn't sure if it's the right time, all these things, all these other factors. And I really liked the exploration that Patricia Tighe did with this. I definitely go and check this book out. She's a brilliant author. I've loved everything I've read by her, so definitely check her out. Next up on this list is actually a world I've been introduced to this year, and those are the Tortall books. This is one of my favorite covers, that's why I'm holding this one up. But I've been doing the Read Tortall read-along with April over April Saura. I will link the read-along for you so you can check that out. But I have thoroughly enjoyed my read of the Tortall world. I don't know how I missed these as a kid, but I'm definitely going to be introducing any girls that I have to this series because I feel like this series can be very empowering for women. I mean, it talks about things like your periods and stuff, just like it's part of real life, and that's something that's not really mentioned a lot in young adult lit. These are younger YA. I'm talking more like 12 to 15, honestly, could handle this book. Anything sexual is very fade to black. You're not going to be scarring anybody with this book series, but I thoroughly enjoyed this series. The Immortal series in particular, I was more partial to the characters in the Immortal series, but the whole world is amazing. I'm really loving this. I'm going to continue to read the Read Tortall books. I'm a whole series behind right now, and I definitely want to catch up on them, but I'm looking forward to continuing on in this world because I find it amazing. Next up, again, is another YA contemporary. Who am I? How are these getting so high on my list? This one is a really important novel in my opinion, and that is Saints and Misfits by S.K. Ali. I found out about this book over on Book and Lala's channel. This is a Muslim-based novel, so our main character is Muslim. She regularly attends her mosque, and something happened with one of the boys at the mosque, and she calls him a monster. And it's very vague. I don't want to give things away, but this book is such a good look at their culture, like within and without the religion. And she has this beautiful relationship with an elderly neighbor that she helps take care of one day a week. I thoroughly enjoyed the exploration that this book took because she has a crush on a white boy at her school and what that does to how she's treated and things. This book is beautiful. It was one of the first books I read this year. 5 stars, solid 5 stars. I think about this book all the time, so it's definitely a hard hitter, and I think it's super important. This is about empowering women and standing up for themselves. I think this book is so important, and I can't believe more people aren't talking about it, so definitely check this one out. So this next book is just a fun romp of a ride of a fantasy, and that is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This trio of authors knows how to write satire. The satire throughout this novel is amazing. I did consume this on audiobook, and I do think that helped me with my enjoyment of the book because the satire hit the right notes. I was belly laughing through the majority of this. I am looking forward to My Plain Jane. It is my next audiobook on my list, and I just thoroughly loved this. I can't believe I put it off as long as I did. And if you have been curious about this at all, definitely check it out. I think this is way fun. It is just one of those light-hearted, fluffy, just kind of pokes fun at all the tropes in the fantasy genre kind of fantasy. So if you read a lot of fantasy, you'll see all the poking fun that they do. And it's so fun. Like, I just can't talk about how fun this book is. There's a good chance it'll be on my top 10 of the year even, because I can't stop thinking about this book. I keep wanting to re-listen to the audiobook, but I have other books that I'm loving on audio, so I end up not. But definitely check out My Lady Jane And I will let you know my thoughts on my Plain Jane when I get to it. Next up is a book that I went into hoping I was gonna love it, and I'm pleasantly surprised to say that I did, and that is Gunslinger Girl by Lindsay Ely. This is a debut author under James Patterson's publishing. I don't know what it's called other than James Patterson Presents, so it's published under that. But this is a Western-based fantasy story where we have a sharpshooter who is, it's kind of dystopic in a ways because she's running away from where she lives to go to this Vegas-style city, and she ends up being part of a Vegas-style show because of her sharpshooter skills. It's really fun. It's a fun exploration. I really hope there's more in this series. Where it left off, it's closed up enough, but it's open enough that there could be more in the series. So I am thoroughly hoping that there will be more because I really loved the characters. I was really enjoying the world, but we only got to see a tiny bit of it. So I really would love to see more in this series, explore the world a little bit more. And again, I just really loved this book. I think more people need to be trying it out and talking about it because I found it thoroughly enjoyable. Alrighty, we are down to the last two of this top 10. These two were definitely my favorites so far this year. They will be on my top books of the year list. So let's just dig right in, shall we? The first book we're going to talk about is Girl in the Tower by Katherine Arden. Seriously, guys, this series is amazing. I believe it's called the Winter Night Trilogy. I'm so sad that the third book has been pushed back to January because I was so looking forward to the conclusion. But I have to say, we continue to follow Vasilisa in this series. Baron the Nightingale was on my top books of the year for last year. I will leave that video linked for you if you're looking for more books to try out. And this book, guys, this brings in characters that were mentioned and kind of developed in the first book, but they play a much more pivotal role in this second book. Katherine Arden's writing does not read like a debut author. Baron the Nightingale was her first book, and it does not read like debut. This is so good, guys. You guys need to be talking about this. Baron the Nightingale did win Best Debut for the BookTube SFF Awards. So, just proof that people who read a lot of science fiction and fantasy equally loved this book. So definitely go and check it out. I find it thoroughly enjoyable, and I can talk about this for ages and eons. And I will be doing a full series review once the third book comes out. If you want to see individual reviews for each book, in the meantime, let me know in the comments down below because I've thought about doing that for you guys anyway. But if you guys want to see it, that'll just motivate me to do it all that much quicker. Words are hard today, guys. Words are hard. Okay, and this last book is probably my favorite read of the year, and it's one that I keep thinking about constantly, and that is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Now, this is a book that was sent to me by Forever Romance for review, but I had read work from Mia Sheridan previously, and I loved her writing, so I had to get my hands on this book. In this book, we follow two characters who have been through traumatic things in their life and end up finding healing through each other, just like most of Mia Sheridan's book, but then they have to go their separate ways to figure out who they are independent of their relationship before their relationship can truly function. That is one thing Mia Sheridan does in her novels that I love and adore. Yes, there are smutty times in this book, so if that's not a thing for you, pass on this one. But if you like some good smut, definitely check this out. But this book is full of so much heart. I bawled in multiple places in this novel. It is a hard-hitting romance novel. They deal with some very tough topics, and I don't want to give away any more. I do have a full review for this one, so again, I will leave that linked for you so you can get a few more of my articulate thoughts there, as words are hard today. And guys, you have to go check out Mia Sheridan's work. Archer's Voice is my favorite, but she's got two others that are out right now through Forever Romance. Again, they've been kind enough to send me books, but that's not why I picked this. I have to be clear, like, that's not why I picked this. This book is phenomenal. I cannot stop thinking about it. I initially gave it a 4.5 star rating, but I'm pretty sure I'm bumping it up to 5 stars because I cannot stop thinking about this. Even when I read her newer release, I kept thinking, I need to go back and read Archer's Voice again. Like, I miss these characters. I miss this story. It is beautiful. It is amazing. Definitely check this out, guys. Like, I could gush about it all day long. I won't do that because it's a video and you guys don't really want to sit here and listen to me gush about one book all day long. Okay guys, so those are my top 10 books that I've read so far in 2018. Let me know in the comments down below one of your favorite books that you've read so far this year, and I will see you guys in the next video. Again, if you're new, I'm Shay. Welcome. Please hit that subscribe button because I'd love to hang out with you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.